figured that one out. The 3-1 pitch, and that ball is a bomb. Deep to right. Long gone.
Wow. Baseball is officially back. The Kansas City Chiefs are your Super Bowl winners, and all that really means is that it's time to focus on the Major League Baseball season. Spring training is less than 2 weeks away, and I am so excited to see who the best brand new players are going to be, whether it's Anthony Rendon on the Angels or Garrett Cole on the Yankees. There's a lot of guys that have changed teams. I am so excited, but the one thing that no one is talking about is a rule change that is coming to baseball in 2020 that could make a huge difference in how the game is played. It's taking away strategy, also adding strategy at the same time. So it's very interesting. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, no, it is not the designated hitter coming to the National League. That might be an issue in 2021, but for this year's sake, the brand new rule that Robert Manfred says is going to speed up the game of baseball, the pace of play. This dude, he is so fixated on shaving 4 minutes off a game, it's actually unreal. Like, no one cares if a game is 4 minutes shorter because of a rule called the 3-batter minimum. So it's exactly what it sounds like. If you are a left-handed specialist, you're pretty much out of a job now because you're required to face a minimum of 3 hitters. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few examples of players that might be out of a job because of this, because they've been so dominant against lefties or righties against righties. I don't know if I like this. Honestly, I'm with Joe Madden. Joe Madden came out and said that he doesn't understand this one. I don't get this one either. No one asked for this. Okay, I can understand the DH coming to the National League. I think that there's a bigger crowd behind that. But this one came out of left field, and he said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shave off 3.7 minutes, if that's even possible, of a baseball game in order to limit the amount of bullpen arms that are coming in and out of a game. Let's just talk about it. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is I will be reading a quote from a Major League Baseball pitcher. His name is Jerry Blevins. Now, if you don't know who Jerry Blevins is, he's been known throughout his career to be, he's really in the league to get lefties out. So we're going to go ahead and see what he said about this new rule change. Again, this is official. It's coming in 2020, so be prepared for this. Jerry Blevins says, I don't want to dictate how the game is played through rules. I want to give the managers flexibility in what they want to do. I can come in and get an inning or an inning plus or one guy. That's what separates the good from the great, is a manager that can do that. So that's his quote. Pretty much what he's saying is that regardless of who you are, the manager should be allowed to put you in against one hitter, 4 guys, maybe you're Dylan Betances and you can go sometimes 2 innings. It's up to the manager and his discretion whether or not he should leave you in or take you out. So there's a lot more that we're going to get into, especially when things like control comes into play. Like if a guy comes in and walks a guy on 4 pitches, then throws another 3 straight balls against batter number 2, that's a little tough. So he might walk 2 dudes and then he has to face a 3rd guy, give up a double, both run score. That's an issue that we're going to have to talk about. Then we have Tyler Clippard. So he was part of the Indians. I don't remember where he signed for 2020. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below. But Tyler Clippard brought up the issue of control. So we're going to go ahead and piggyback off what I was just talking about. He said, if you have a guy out there who's struggling and just can't get an out, there's nothing that you can do. So you just lose the game because one guy has a bad day. And honestly, that's a very good point. If you're Tyler Clippard and you come out the bullpen, you know for a fact that you did not have it in your bullpen session. You walk the first 2 hitters. You then have to face a 3rd one. Instead of doing the normal Little League through Major League Baseball thing of you don't have it today, we're going to go ahead and get you out so this game is not surrendered because you had a bad day. Oh no, Robert Manfred wants to save 4 minutes from every baseball game because he's obsessed with this whole idea that if we can save 4 minutes from every baseball game, combine them all together, it'll sound a lot better at the end of the season when we say, we saved a combined 1,769 seconds of Major League Baseball just because Aaron Loop and Jerry Blevins or Jake Diekman, lefty specialists, were forced to stay in the game, and now their ERA is upwards of 8 to 9, and they're out of baseball. So good on you, Robert Manfred. And we're going to present Robert Manfred's side in just a second, but for right now, I am not feeling this rule at all. I just don't quite understand it. I mean, I understand that the main goal is trying to speed up the game, but is this the way to do it? I don't know. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read another sort of quote or statement, and this kind of like solidifies what will be happening in 2020. So the new rule will require tactical shifts and new strategy, but some of those extant problems and the unforeseen that will inevitably arrive have no easy answers. Unsurprisingly, the MLBPA, the Major League Baseball Players Association, was firmly against the change, though to no avail. The league was able to impose the rule unilaterally, and the union acquiesced. That was a tough word, but I'm glad I got that right. In exchange for some concessions. It's a strange move to make, too, given the fact that most relievers these days don't face fewer than 3 batters per outing. So, again, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below. Now that you've got the opposing side for what Robert Manfred is doing, I mean, you see it right here. The Players Association does not agree with it. Players do not agree with it. Fans, I mean, I'm just one fan, so I'm curious to see what you guys think as well. It seems to be like everyone is against this, and no one seems to be on the side of Robert Manfred. Now, the side of Manfred says, you know what, if you're a Major League Baseball player, and a pitcher especially, if you're going to be paid millions of dollars, you should be able to get at least 3 hitters out. There shouldn't be someone like Jerry Blevins who's getting paid league minimum to get Joey Gallo out. So we're going to talk about Joey Gallo as well, but a few examples that I wanted to give of pitchers that are going to suffer the most from this. So Jerry Blevins is the first one. So we've talked about him already in this video, the quote. We're going to see what his stats are and the reason why he's so passionate about this, because he's fighting for his brethren. All of the other they're called Loopies or Loogies, the lefty out only guys, something like that. I don't know exactly, but they're called Loogies. In 2019, right-handed hitters had an 831 OPS against Blevins, whereas lefties hit 540. Now again, this is OPS. The higher it is, the better they hit against you. So when you have an 831 OPS against righties and a 540 OPS against lefties, I can see why he is coming out, and he is very passionate. He does not want this rule to be in, but it sucks to say, Jerry, this rule is coming, so you might as well learn how to get a right-handed hitter out, because you might not have a job unless you go ahead and fix that. Now, on the flip side, the Boston Red Sox might be fine because they have Matt Barnes and Brandon Workman. Both of those guys can go multiple innings. Both of those guys have same stats versus lefties and righties. So the Red Sox, they should be fine. But someone like Adam Simber, a reliever for the Cleveland Indians, his stats, his splits are out of this world. He was amazing against righties. Righties only had a 645 OPS, which is actually not amazing, but it's still pretty good against right-handed hitters. So he was great against righties, but against lefties, they almost had a 950 OPS. So if Adam Simber has to come in and get Mookie Betts out, he's going to be fine. But then if you have to face Mitch Moreland or Rafael Devers, c'est la vie to the Indians lead. It's probably going to be 9-0 in the span of 5 minutes, because Oliver Perez is going to have to replace Adam Simber. Perez sucks against righties. Then you're going to have to face Xander Bogaerts and JD Martinez. So it's just all bad if you're an Indians fan. It's great if you're a Red Sox fan, because they've pretty much already prepared for this. To be honest, those were my biggest examples. Jerry Blevins might be without a job because he sucks against righties. The Red Sox are going to be fine. The Indians will not be fine because Adam Simber is awful against lefties. Oliver Perez might be even worse against right-handed batters. Now, one other thing is there could be examples where you don't want a lefty, because this really comes down to the left-handed specialist. But let's bring this example into an equation. So let's say that Giancarlo Stanton is up to the dish. I mean, regardless of what's happening, you want the guy that is going to get Giancarlo Stanton out with 2 outs. So let's say Stanton is really bad against Brad Hand. You're going to bring in Brad Hand. Okay, that's just how it goes. Even though it's a lefty-righty matchup, it's not a lefty-lefty specialist situation. If Giancarlo Stanton is hitting 150 against Brad Hand, you're going to go to that. But then there comes the situation of maybe Gary Sanchez or Aaron Judge is coming up after Stanton. Now you can't just take out Brad Hand. He has to face those next 2 guys. So let's say he walks Stanton, there's a runner on first base. Gary Sanchez might go deep. Aaron Judge might go deep. Gleyber Torres might go deep. So that's the situation at play. Or even someone like Joey Gallo. So I think this rule is really going to affect how pitchers and managers are going to play against one team specifically, the Texas Rangers, because Joey Gallo, it's been said that he's not very good against lefties, but in 2019, my man's had a 1,174 OPS versus left-handed pitchers. He wasn't that great against starting lefties, but against relievers, he was mashing baseballs. So let's say that you bring in Jerry Blevins to face Joey Gallo. He actually does better against Jerry Blevins, so what would you want to do? Not do that, not bring in a lefty, and bring in someone like Chris Martin. Now, I know I'm comparing the Braves to the Rangers. It would be an interleague matchup, but bear with me. So you bring in Chris Martin. Joey Gallo sucks against righties. I mean, the stats are there. I'm not saying that he sucks, but he had a 217 batting average against right-handed pitchers. So let's say he gets Joey Gallo to ground out. Perfect. 1 down. Now you have to face Danny Santana. Danny Santana rakes against righties, so you can't bring in someone else, Jerry Blevins. You can't bring in Sean Newcomb. You can't bring a lefty to face Danny Santana or Willie Calhoun, which is the projected lineup. You have Joey Gallo, who is really good against lefties, not so much against righties. So you're bringing a righty, but then you have to face Willie Calhoun and Danny Santana back to back, because that's the minimum right there. Joey Gallo, Danny Santana, Willie Calhoun, those are 3 hitters, and if you bring in a righty, you're good against Joey Gallo, or maybe not, because Gallo is just that intimidating, but Danny Santana, he's a threat against righties. Willie Calhoun is even better versus righties. So I just don't really understand this rule. The fact that you want to mess up the strategy in the game of baseball, DH is different. It's just you're not allowing someone who sucks to do what he sucks at. I don't know. This is just very weird. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below, where do you think this rule is going to take us? I mean, another example that I can give is Jordan Luplow, an outfielder for the Cleveland Indians. Some of you have never heard that name before, but he had 14 home runs and almost 1,200 OPS versus left-handed pitchers in 2019. So if you can't bring in a righty against Jordan Luplow, that's going to be another easy home run, a double off the wall. Jordan Luplow is going to make you pay for it every single time. So here's a final synopsis of what is happening, the both sides. So Robert Manfred is on one side. He is saying that you are Major League Baseball pitchers. You should be able to get 3 hitters out regardless of if they are left-handed or right-handed. And by proxy, because there's not going to be as many pitching changes, we'll be able to shave off a few minutes of play time every single game, added up to some grand number that will look really good. But honestly, on a smaller scale, it doesn't really do much. And on the other side, you're costing guys careers. Jerry Blevins, Jake Diekman, Craig Stammen, Amir Garrett, Matt Barnes, and Brandon Workman are going to be fine. Jerry Blevins is not going to be fine. So you're costing guys jobs. I mean, there was a point in this article where it said that Robert Manfred will be taking foods out of the sons and daughters of guys because they're not going to have a job because they're known as being really good against lefties or being really good against righties. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think that Robert Manfred got it right by implementing this rule, even though the MLBPA and fans have been strongly not backing this up? So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys are excited for baseball, because I for sure am. Just this rule, I'm not really down for it, but catch you guys in the next one. Please let me know what you think. Peace out.